welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into, well, a really profound and, I have to say, quite challenging piece of ancient wisdom. Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 2.15.
Yes, it's definitely one of those.
This particular sutra, it's seen as one of the most powerful teachings in the whole Yoga Sutras. Our mission today is to really unpack its, let's say, audacious claim and figure out why it's so central to the spiritual journey.
Absolutely. It's an assertion that can sound, well, pretty radical when you first hear it. Sutra 2.15 states, "To the discriminating, viveki, all is, as it were, painful."
Painful, that's a strong word.
It is. The word is dukkha in Sanskrit. You find it everywhere in Indian traditions, Buddhism, Vedanta. But it doesn't just mean, obvious physical pain or sadness. It's broader.
Broader how?
Like unfulfilling, unsatisfying, or maybe just not all it's cracked up to be, that kind of feeling.
Okay.
So this deep dive, we're going to explore why Patanjali makes such a bold statement, why everything, even the stuff that seems wonderful, is ultimately a source of this dukkha. We'll get into his 4 big reasons. And crucially, see why understanding this is actually, well, an essential step for anyone on a serious spiritual path.
That sets a powerful stage, saying everything is suffering, even the good stuff. That's bold. So how does Patanjali break that down for us? He doesn't just leave it there, right?
No, he gives reasons. And what's fascinating is how universal these feel, these 4 pillars of suffering, as we can call them. They apply now just as much as they did then.
Okay, 4 pillars. Let's hear them.
Let's start with the first one, consequence, or parinamadukkha.
Parinamadukkha, got it.
This one highlights how even things we enjoy, pleasurable experiences, they inevitably lead to pain or emptiness or, dissatisfaction when they end.
Okay, so it's like the universe's ultimate buyer beware for fleeting joys.
Kind of, yeah.
Like you get into your dream college, you're ecstatic.
Right. Cloud 9.
But then maybe the competition is brutal or it's just not what you imagined, and that initial high just crashes into misery.
Exactly that. Swami Vivekananda, he talked about this, drawing from the Gita. He called it rajasika happiness.
Ragasika.
Yeah, meaning it's like nectar in the beginning, but poison in the end. Think about eating a really delicious tiramisu.
Okay, I'm with you.
The first bite, amazing, right?
The best.
But the second, still good, but maybe not as amazing. And the third,
Diminishing returns.
precisely, the law of diminishing returns. So you start needing more to get the same feeling, and eventually you just end up more dissatisfied than when you started. The pleasure itself holds the seed of future pain because, well, it just can't last.
That makes total sense. Even pleasure expires, leading to its own kind of dukkha. Okay, what about the more obvious stuff? The second pillar, tapadukkha. Pain itself.
Right. Traditionally, tapa is that direct suffering, the obvious pain from negative things.
Like what?
Well, traditionally, they break it down. Suffering from your own body and mind. Illness, anxiety, that sort of thing. That's a hyatmika. Then there's suffering from other beings, mosquitoes, annoying neighbors, difficult relatives. That's adibhataka.
Uh-huh. We all know that one.
And then suffering from nature storms, earthquakes, adidaivika. These map onto the 3 shantis you sometimes hear chanted.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Right. But you mentioned Swami Vivekananda had a more subtle take here, too. He did, and it's brilliant. He translates tapa not just as present pain, but as the anticipation of loss of happiness.
Ooh, okay. Explain that.
It means even when you're at peak happiness, there's this little shadow, a seed of maybe not despair, but unease. You know it won't last.
Right.
And knowing that, it kind of eats away at the present joy. Imagine finally buying that super fancy car you've wanted for years, say a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
The joy is real, but then so's the worry. What if it gets stolen? What if someone keys it? What if I scratch it?
Yeah, that constant low-level anxiety.
Exactly. That worry about losing this great thing. It infects the happiness you have right now. It's a subtle kind of suffering baked right in. The better things are, maybe the more anxiety you feel about them ending.
Wow, that's a really powerful insight. Even joy is tainted by the fear of losing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to pillar 3, latent impressions, samskara dukkha. How do our past experiences keep us stuck?
Okay, so every single experience, good or bad, leaves behind a samskara.
Like a little mental residue.
Exactly. A latent impression deep in our unconscious mind. Think of them like seeds, just waiting for the right conditions to sprout.
And when they sprout?
When something triggers them, these samskaras create fresh cravings, desires, aversions. Let's go back to the tiramisu.
Okay, I'm still thinking about it.
Eating it creates a samskara, a memory trace. Later on, maybe you just see a picture of tiramisu or someone mentions it. That reactivates the impression.
And boom, craving hits.
Powerful craving. Now, if you can't
Yeah.
satisfy it, you suffer, right?
Yeah.
Frustration. But even if you do satisfy it, eat the tiramisu again, the satisfaction is fleeting, the cycle just continues. It can lead to addiction, whether it's obvious things like substances or subtler things like endlessly scrolling social media or watching porn. Swami Vivekananda called this fresh craving arising from impressions of happiness. We keep trying to fill this inner emptiness based on past memories of pleasure, but we never quite get there. It's a perpetual cycle.
It's like these ghosts of past pleasures keep demanding more, keeping us on this hamster wheel. Explains why reaching for that second slice feels almost automatic sometimes. Okay, and the final pillar, the turmoil of qualities, guna something.
Guna vritti varota dukkha.
Right. What's that about?
This points to the constant conflict between the three fundamental gunas or energies that make up everything in nature, including our minds.
The gunas, remind me.
Sure, they're sattva,
Mm.
clarity, calm, peace, light.
Mm.
Think unselfishness, compassion, that kind of inner joy.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Then rajas, energy, desire, ambition, worldly cravings, attachment. Think emotional neediness, maybe anger, happiness that depends on external things.
The driving force.
And finally, tamas, darkness, inertia, lethargy, depression, cynicism. Think cruelty, negativity, dullness.
Got it. Sattva, rajas, tamas.
Now, the key point is nothing and no one is purely one guna. They're always mixing, shifting, daddling it out. They're inherently unstable.
So even if you feel really peaceful,
Exactly. Even if you're in a very sattvic state, maybe deep in meditation, a sudden loud noise, a distracting thought, boom, it can pull you right back into the turmoil of rajas or tamas. This inherent instability, this constant flux within nature itself, means that no state of mind, including happiness, can ever be truly permanent.
So if I'm getting this right, the turmoil of qualities basically says that because everything in the universe, including our minds, is made of these constantly shifting energies, clarity, drive, inertia, nothing can ever stay put. No state, not even perfect peace, can be truly permanent.
That's it, precisely.
That sounds like a fundamental obstacle to finding lasting happiness.
It is. Swami Vivekananda described it as a clash between the different forces of nature, one dragging one way and another dragging another, rendering permanent happiness impossible.
Wow. Okay, those are 4 pretty comprehensive reasons. And it's really striking how these ancient ideas connect with other traditions, isn't it? Especially Buddhism.
It really is. The parallels are undeniable.
Tell me more about that connection. How do these 4 pillars line up with, say, the 4 Noble Truths?
Well, it's quite direct in some ways, and probably not a coincidence given that the Yoga Sutras likely came after Buddhism was established.
Right.
So the first noble truth in Buddhism, life involves suffering or unsatisfactoriness. That's an exact match with Patanjali's core point here. All is dukkha. As Sri Aurobindo put it, all is too little that the world can give.
Okay, agreement on the problem. What about the cause?
Yeah.
The second Noble Truth.
In Buddhism, the cause is identified primarily as thirst or craving, Tana or Trishna. The Buddha was often very practical, focusing on the immediate cause, like wanting to get an arrow out rather than analyzing the metaphysics of who shot it.
Makes sense. Get rid of the pain first.
Exactly. Now, yoga agrees that craving is definitely a cause, but it argues the ultimate cause goes deeper. It's ignorance, or avidya.
Ignorance of what?
Ignorance of our true nature, mistaken identity. We think we are this body-mind complex, this prakriti, this constantly changing bundle of thoughts, feelings, sensations. Instead of realizing our true self is the purusha, pure, unchanging consciousness, the witness. Separate from all this mental chatter and physical stuff, it's this fundamental mistake, this identification with prakriti that gives rise to the ego and then to all the cravings and aversions.
So craving's a symptom, but ignorance is the root disease.
That's a good way to put it. If we didn't falsely identify with the mind and its desires, the cravings wouldn't have the same power over us. We'd see them as just phenomena happening, not us. Like watching 2 dogs fight without getting involved yourself, you are simply the observer.
That's a crucial distinction. Craving is immediate, ignorance as ultimate. Okay, so how do the solutions compare? The third Noble Truth, cessation.
For Buddhism, cessation leads to nirvana, often described as an extinguishing, like blowing out a candle.
Okay.
For yoga, the goal is kaivalya. It literally means aloneness or isolation, but in a positive sense. It's realizing the absolute independence and freedom of the purusha from prakriti, complete separation from the body-mind complex and its suffering.
Nirvana versus Kaivalya. Similar goal, slightly different framing. And the path. The fourth noble truth.
Buddhism offers the Noble Eightfold Path. Yoga, in the sutras that follow this one, lays out Ashtanga Yoga, the eight-limbed path.
All right, yama, niyama, asana.
Exactly. So you see this whole structure, problem, cause, cure, method. It's just like ancient Indian medicine, like Ayurveda. Diagnose the disease, dukkha. Find its root cause, avidya leading to craving, etc. Identify the state of health, kaivalya, and outline the treatment plan, Ashtanga Yoga.
Applying a medical model to spiritual well-being. That's fascinating.
It's a very systematic approach.
Okay, so this all might sound, well, frankly, a bit depressing. Everything is suffering. Why focus so much on the negative? What's the actual point for us, practically speaking?
That's the key question, isn't it? And it's not about being pessimistic. This recognition, this understanding that the world, as experienced through the ordinary mind, is fundamentally a place of frustration and unfulfillment. It's actually presented as a crucial preliminary step.
Step towards what?
Towards wanting something more, towards embarking on the path of yoga, or really any genuine spiritual practice. If you were perfectly content with fleeting pleasures, why would you bother with the effort, the discipline, the introspection required for deeper transformation? What would be the motivation?
That makes me think. You often hear spiritual teachers say that disillusionment can be a great gift.
Absolutely. Sri Ramakrishna had a wonderful analogy.
Oh, yeah.
He talked about a baby with a red toy pacifier. As long as the baby is happily sucking on that pacifier, absorbed in it, the mother stays busy in the kitchen.
Okay.
But when the baby gets tired of the toy, spits it out, and starts crying for the mother, really wanting her, then she comes running immediately.
Ah, I see. The pacifier is like worldly pleasures.
Exactly. As long as we're content with those transient things, those pacifiers, we don't really feel the deep need for God or truth or whatever you want to call that deeper reality. It's usually when we feel the limits of worldly happiness, when we spit out the pacifier, that the real seeking begins.
So suffering isn't just pointless pain, it's a signal.
Swami Vivekananda called it the great eye-opener. Think about your own life. Often, the times you learned the most grew the most. Weren't they usually connected to some kind of difficulty or challenge?
Yeah, definitely. Moments of hardship often become turning points in hindsight.
Exactly. In hindsight, they can feel like blessings. I know someone personally who had a terrible motorcycle accident, lost a leg, horrific suffering at the time.
Oh, wow.
But later, looking back, he expressed deep gratitude for it. He said it was the thing that completely changed his direction, led him onto a spiritual path he wouldn't have found otherwise.
That's incredible. Grace in a very unexpected form.
There's actually a Sanskrit term for that, coined by Swami Tapasyananda, viparita kripa.
Viparita kripa.
It means God's grace in the form of what seems to be its opposite. Suffering viewed not as punishment, but as a divine nudge, a signal that something's out of alignment, urging us towards change, towards growth, towards something better.
What an incredible deep dive this has been into one of the really foundational, if challenging, teachings of yoga. It seems Patanjali, far from being some kind of ancient Debbie Downer,
You're right.
is actually offering us something profound, a gift almost.
He truly is. From that higher perspective, this dukkha, this suffering, it really can be seen as a form of grace.
An eye-opener.
Exactly, an eye-opener, nudging us away from chasing shadows, the transient pleasures that always fade, and pointing us towards a higher, unshakable truth. You know, some philosophies might say, hey, life's impermanent, just enjoy the ride, grab the pleasures while you can.
Yeah, carpe diem, sort of.
Right. But these deeper traditions, like yoga, warn that approach ultimately just sets you up for greater pain, because those attachments will eventually be broken. And the stronger the attachment, the greater the suffering when it happens.
That also makes me think about avoiding the issue, like spiritual bypassing.
That's a very important point. There's a danger in using spiritual ideas or practices to just, pretend everything's fine, to avoid looking at our actual pain or difficulties.
Putting on a happy face when you're really struggling inside.
Exactly. But true spiritual practice, especially when informed by a sutra like this one, encourages the opposite. Encourages honest acknowledgement of our suffering, our confusion, our inner states. Because it's only by seeing clearly where we are, including the dukkha, that genuine transformation can happen. It's not about avoidance. It's about transcendence through understanding.
Such a powerful distinction. Okay, so for you, our listener listening in today, maybe here's a final provocative thought to mull over. How might you start to view the challenges, the difficulties, the dukkha in your own life?
Yeah.
Could they be seen not just as burdens, but perhaps as potential catalysts, as opportunities for deeper insight, for growth, maybe even as opportunities for grace?